We got O-Stones in deck. Hype. Now if we ever top deck O-Stone and our opponent has removed our Titan, it's just going to be an insane draw. So that's kind of nice. If they just like path this and then we just top deck O-Stone, play and pop it, no big deal. Hey guys, we are here for match 3. We are currently 1-1 after having won against Mill, actually. I was about to say lost against Mill, because that's the usual occurrence, but we actually won against Mill. And then we went 1-2 against Neo Brand. If you want to see what the heck was going on in that match, and how we even managed to win one game, then go check out match 2. But we're here in the now for match 3. I will see you guys in the games. Also, I failed to mention this, but if you're curious about the deck list and the choices and why the heck we're playing Oblivion Stone in our sideboard, then go check out match 1, where I explain all of the answers to your questions. Let's hop in this match here. On the draw. It's over, guys. Scoop it up. Go to match 4 here. Was a good run. This feels very strongly like a mulligan to me. Our first spell being an Explorer on turn 3 is not particularly modern playable. I don't know if that surprises any of you. Sunhome. Few tapped for green. This hand would have been a keep. Turn 1, Scout. Turn 2, Explore even. Definitely mulliganing. Almost hit keep. Would have been a disaster. And here we have a turn 3 Dryad with mana to cast Titan and a natural Valakut here. Multiple untapped sources, including a Cavern to play against control. Like, I don't love it, but I think we have to keep this. It's probably correct to ship the Sanctuary here, as the Talari West is something we can transmute for Titan. And even without this Sanctuary, we still have Titan mana, so I'm gonna bottom the Sanctuary. Flooded Strand. Well, I mean, our Cavern Souls could be quite good. Depends on if our opponent's fetching for a white land or for a blue land here. Them fetching at all already makes me think that it's not particularly likely to be a control deck. Birds of Paradise. Alright. Interesting. I'm not sure what Breeding Pool deck would play Birds of Paradise. I can think of maybe Niv. Anyways, let's get this Talari West in play, so we have the blue to potentially transmute it down the line. No reason to show our opponent Valakut just yet. Especially since the color of mana isn't that particularly relevant. Only for hasting. Transmuting Talari West could be quite the impactful play. Field of Ruin out of our opponent's Birds of Paradise Breeding Pool deck. And they just fire it off. They don't like our Talari West. Fair enough. Snow-covered island. I have no clue what we're up against, y'all. This could be the what's the 5-mana champion? Doubling season Jace Architect of Thought combo deck? I don't know. Our opponent has 50 cards in deck. So it's definitely not some meme Battle of Wits deck. I guess we're playing Radiant Fountain, or actually, I guess playing Valakut now is the best option. Get the tap land out of the way. Have Valakut in play when our Dryad is in play. It's probably a good thing. Although, I mean, it doesn't have to be this upcoming turn that Valakut's in play, but regardless, it saves us a potential land drop down the line, so makes sense to me. Giving us extra untapped land sources here, which we might need. In fact, we can play land, Dryad, bounce land, and then have untap land for Titan on turn 4 here, as was drawn up from the initial start here. We do need to top deck that Titan in the next 2 draw steps, but I think we can manage that. Our opponent has shown us now a Plains. Interesting. So, like a Bant Stoneblade deck, perhaps. We're playing around Counter Magic here and doing Cavern on the Dryad. And Dryad into play. Cryptic Command this, opponent. I dare ya. Spellcaller. Well, you know, that one does get around Cavernous Holes. That's true. Okay, we're getting tempoed. Definitely a Bant Stoneblade deck of some sort. Interesting that they're choosing to play Field of Ruin in the main. Not necessarily saying that it's wrong. I know that it's actually fairly common. I guess we're just... I mean, I don't know if I want to put a bounce land in play if our opponent can just Cryptic Command to bounce it, as horrible as it seems not to play out a tap land here. If they bounce our, ironically, if they bounce our bounce land, then that sets us back quite a bit. So I guess we're just playing the Radiant Fountain and hoping for the best. Next turn, we'll probably be forced to commit a bounce land if we don't draw a green source of some sort. But yeah, ideally, we just run green source into Titan. Green source first, because then we know that we have the 6 mana for Titan. If we draw Titan now, then that almost forces us to put a bounce land into play. Collected Company. Okay. Icefang, Quaddle, and Birds. Not the most powerful stuff, but at least the company replaced itself with a 1/1 Death Toucher and a card. Not the worst value I've ever seen. Noble Hierarch, okay. Stoneforge Mystic. You got it? Seemingly not. We still have a Cavern Dryad in place, so potentially if we drew a Dryad, that would be a good draw as well. We could get a Valakut trigger. And then probably a second Dryad, and then another Valakut trigger. Scout is actually not bad at all. Assuming we draw a Titan, of course. And I think now we do just have to put a bounce in play. Don't know if our opponent would even be playing Cryptic Command at this point. Probably not in their Collected Company deck, but you never know. People who like their collected companies also like their pet cards, and Cryptic Command often falls under the same category. Eternal Witness, alright, so our opponent's going wild with these collected companies. I mean, if we could draw anything that's not a land, that would be nice. just saying, just putting that out there, you know. Field of Ruin. I mean, we can still cast Titan even if they field this Growth Chamber right now, which they might be doing. Seems like they are. Forest. Got a couple of those. Combat with the crew. Alright, we'll just take our 3 points of damage. Garenbrig is not a Titan. Alright, so I guess we're just picking up this Radiant Fountain and putting it into play. Of course, getting our blue into play for potentially transmuting Tolaria West. What did our opponent even field? The Valakut? Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Kind of assumed they were going after Growth Chamber. Just a flash and a Spellcaller for the attacks. Decent. Definitely decent. Seal of the Godhead. Woo! 3 mana. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2, since it's both white and blue. And lifelink and can't be blocked. Well, I mean, it's flying anyways, but... yeah, probably blocking the Ewit. Let's see. I suppose if we scout in Sanctuary after blocks, pick up a forest, we'll have 6 mana, float a white, Titan, get Vestige to float a red and something else, play Stronghold for turn, and attack with it. So we don't really need Scout here. I think getting the 2/1 out of play makes a lot of sense. So, okay. Doesn't play around our opponent having any kind of interaction, but, I mean, what are we playing around? Our opponent's just killing us, so... save us 4 points of life down the line here. Taking 7, down to 7 exactly. So I guess the Radiant Fountain in hand is kind of annoying. Playing and attacking with Titan might not be relevant at all. We might just have to play Radiant Fountain and then Titan, Vesuva, Radiant Fountain to not be just literally dead on board. And then just go from there. I guess maybe... play Radiant Fountain, play Titan, get Vesuva, copying Radiant Fountain, and Valakut makes sense. Okay, let's cast this Explore here. Not sure what color is relevant to leaf floating. I guess the blue. We have green ready to go for a Titan anyways, so... gonna Spell Pierce. Okay. I don't know. I haven't done any math on this, but I'm assuming we can afford to pay for Spell Pierce, so I'm just gonna pay for it. Yeah, so we get Radiant Fountain and then a land, and then we take 4, 5, 6, 7, so we're not technically dead. Play the Fountain out. And I guess we just play Garenbrig. If we Sanctuary pick up the Fountain, that would potentially gain us 2 more life, but we might want the Fountain in play for resolving a Titan. So we can copy it. Although, to be honest, I think if we're resolving Titan, the Fountain is not going to matter anymore. We're going to be at a low enough life total that we'd have to gain an inordinate amount of life. So, probably not relevant. I guess just the Garenbrig is fine. Although we can always play Garenbrig for turn this upcoming turn. So I'm going to play the Sanctuary. Could be wrong. Whatever. Probably just dead. No Titan on top. Never is. Definitely will not be. Hopefully that's not true. This just seems like a pretty good Oblivion Stone matchup. They're trying to tempo us out, and then we just blow up their board that they've very carefully put together. I mean, I could see that being pretty good. Courser of Crewfix. Our opponent is on a value train over here. And like I said, no Titan on the top. It's okay, it's okay. We'll just Oblivion Stone them in games 2 and 3 and win because of it. No big deal. O-Stone coming in. Dismember makes a lot of sense, assuming our opponent is playing Stoneforge, which don't know if that's true at all. Bring in the Rex Sage for that reason, but probably not the Force. Force is a little too narrow for that. Tracker doesn't seem too bad. Good against their tempo plan, as we can resolve a much more efficient threat here. Pact seems probably not good. Grazer doesn't seem that bad, blocking their little pings and attacks here and there. Blocking the Spell Callers doesn't seem too bad. Speeds us up a little bit. Yeah, I don't mind a couple Grazers. Probably trying to Explore here, only because this matchup is about tempo, and 2 mana is kind of a lot for this effect. 1 Summoners Pact can go for sure. Bojuka Bog, unlikely to matter. Don't think we want to cut any of the lands. Turn Timber, I'm not a big fan of it. 7 mana for an inefficient effect. Like, if it hits a Titan, sure, it's great, but otherwise, like, what are we doing? Could maybe trim a Scout. I don't know. I like Scout here. Maybe 3 trackers is a lot. 2 trackers seems fine. Going down to 2 pets seems fine also. Cavern doesn't seem like it's actually that relevant, to be honest. It does cast our 1-drops on 1, which is not irrelevant at all. Gotta cut 2 cards. I don't know what they should be. I guess a Garenbrig is fine, and the Ghost Quarter doesn't really matter either, so I'm gonna trim the Ghost Quarter. Alright, submit. Alright, we'll be on the play. We got O-Stones in deck. Hype. Alright, we'll keep this hand. Got a turn 1 Scout, turn 2... I guess we can't necessarily turn to a Dryad here, but we got some interaction. We got Dryad and Titan ready to go eventually. Garenbrig for a little bit of extra speed, so we're definitely keeping this one. Scout into play. Pass it back. Let's see if our opponent has a Bird or Noble on 1. Noble. Alright. And now we actually do have Dryad on turn 2, thanks to this Forest that we have freshly drawn off the top, so that's quite nice. And we will just play the Dryad while our opponent doesn't have some kind of Spell Queller type effect. Gruul Turf, picking up the basic Forest, I guess, and we'll pass it back. Probably just slamming Titan next turn regardless. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Even they play a tapped land. Play... Oh, Path. Okay. Sure. You can get Titan into play, and that's pretty good. You don't need to play a land drop to do so. Don't think there's a way to haste here. Might be wise to dismember a 1-drop creature so they can't accompany you unless they play a land. And that would be their whole turn. I don't know. Maybe... We're probably just setting up Tolaria West and a bounce land here. So having bounce land in hand is most likely going to be relevant. I guess we just slam the Titan here. Maybe we're just overthinking this. We can always flash in a land at instant speed with Tribe Scout in order to dismember, perhaps. So we definitely want Tolaria West. Could just be double Tolaria West. That doesn't seem too bad. Rather than just getting a Growth Chamber. Although I guess having the bounce land available is not a bad thing. We'd have to pick up a bounce land with our Growth Chamber for that to work, but it's probably worth it. Pick up the Gruul Turf. Alright. We'll play the Forest and pass it back. And if we decide we want to scout in a bounce land and pick up literally anything else, then we can do that. Definitely on a nice curve here. A very fast hand. Turn 3 Titan hand with a extra land drop to boot. our opponent's Path to Exile helped with that. Not gonna lie. Now if we ever top deck O-Stone and our opponent has removed our Titan, it's just gonna be an insane draw. So that's kind of nice. If they just like path this and then we just top deck O-Stone, play and pop it, no big deal. Alright. Do we scout in a bounce land? I don't think there's a reason to. So I'm not going to. There's the O-Stone. Alright, I guess we transmute and play a Dryad and see what happens. They Spell Queller. I guess the worst case scenario, they Spell Queller and then Path Titan, and then we have O-Stone blow it up, potentially, later on. So I think it's probably worth it to do this now. Gonna use the Sanctuary here, as it will give us white mana in combination with the Valakut that we might potentially be searching with our Titan attack trigger for. Probably tapping this Cavern of Souls, since we're not likely to be casting a Scout anytime soon. I don't know, it's just the feeling I get, you know. Do we go for the Dryad or not? We could just play O-Stone here in case things go south. If we play the Summoner's Pact and they Spell Queller the Pact, I feel like that's not a bad thing for us. We can even pop the O-Stone after having played it if our Pact doesn't resolve. If we pay 4, let's see, we flash this in, pick up a land, flash in the land, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which would be quite a bit short of activating O-Stone here. I don't know. I feel like it's safest not to go for the Dryad, but I don't know what's giving me that vibe. I feel like there's no reason to pact now, so I'm gonna just wait on that decision until our second main phase, after we know whether our Titan is staying in play or not. If it's not, then maybe just slamming O-Stone and not playing into... Actually... Nah, yeah, slamming O-Stone's fine, because then we can potentially just dismember, so... We could, like, scout in a bounce land, pick up a basic forest, play basic forest for turn, dismember immediately, so they can't, like, Spell Queller or dismember also. Cryptic Command to tap draw, okay. So not playing into Cryptic Command is nice. Maybe missed a chance to activate Scout here, but I'm not super opposed to that. We'll play this O-Stone now, just to get it into play. If our opponent deals with our Titan, then they have an O-Stone to deal with also. It's a different kind of threat, but it is a threat. Could potentially pact on our opponent's instep here to play around something weird, like a force. If they fetch here, I'll probably pact in response, just so they can't Queller us. I guess they could still Queller the Dryad. Interesting. I think it's probably correct to pact here, so we pay 4, play Dryad. I guess we can't play Dryad and also pop O-Stone, but it's whatever. We also don't necessarily know for sure we're going to be setting up Valakut here, so maybe this pact was wrong. I think just getting Dryad is alright. I don't know. Screw it. I'm getting second Titan. I think that that's going to be better for us than getting a Dryad, so... This way, if our opponent does deal with this Titan, which they do have to do, then we have a backup ready to go. Can even play it by floating 3, scouting in a bounce land, picking up a forest, playing it for turn, making 4, and then activating Garen Brig, so... Interesting stuff. Now we are not as worried about Spell Queller either. Our only card that gets hit by it is Dismember, and we can wipe this Spell Queller out of this world with this O-Stone, so... O-Stone looking pretty good here. Icefang Quaddle. You got it. Total, Quaddle, whatever. Our opponent is likely holding up a path here. I would not be surprised. I suppose if we had scouted in this bounce lane and picked up an untapped source, like the Cavern, perhaps, then we would be able to double strike our Titan at instant speed here, so we can attack through the Quaddle. Does this thing have Death Touch yet? No, they only have one other snow permanent, so I guess we don't actually need to worry about attacking into Icefang. Lucked out on that one a little bit. Okay, we'll pay for our pact. Don't think there's a reason to pay differently. Nah. There's a Scout. Not too bad, not too bad. Let's go to combat. Swing in with a Titan. set up another Talari West and a single Valak at the Molten Pinnacle here, so we can potentially go mad with Dryad Valakut synergies. We have another Titan backed up, ready to go here. Huh. Don't think wiping the board here to get our opponent back to square zero is actually that helpful. We can Titan here. I don't think there's anything that was really bad against, so I think I'm interested in going ahead and doing that. Doesn't really matter if we scout on the bounce land or play it, but I'm just gonna do this. Yeah, I think it's best to just slam the Titan now while our opponent's shields are guaranteedly down. And yep, we'll search. We'll get second Valakut and a bounce land. And we'll pick up, I guess just the Talari West makes sense, so it's fine, and we'll pass it back. Even if we could have played this Talari West, I believe it was lit up because of the option to transmute. Even if we could, we would not want to play our Talari West for turn. So, yeah. Judging by how that turn played out, I'm inclined to think that packing for a second Titan was actually a pretty good play. Now our opponent has to potentially deal with 2 Titans, an Oblivion Stone, and a Dryad. If we draw any land, then we get double Valakut triggers off the land. I guess fetch land would be the absolute most insane draw, but that is after we pack for a Dryad and put it into play, after we transmute Talari West for that pact. So a couple steps down the road, but it's alright. Our opponent is swinging in here. Very valiant Icefang Coatl, doing its day job here. Nothing to see here, just a flying 3/3 attacking into a board of double Titan, no big deal. Now, if we transmuted for and played Dryad now, we'd be playing into Cryptic, which I did say our opponent could be playing. Does it make sense to be playing in a Collected Company deck? I don't know, you tell me, but I did call that one. I don't really see a reason not to just go straight to combat here, so that's what I'm going to do. We even drew the bounce land to go with our Dryad, so things are just looking pretty good here. If we do get to attack, we'll get Vesuva copying Valakut and another... Actually, we have both Talari West in play, so Vesuva copying Valakut and I guess Sunhome, so we can attack through this Icefang Coatl if our opponent somehow manages to just spawn a bunch of snow permanents all in one go. I think our opponent's trying to filter double blue here, so I think they do have another Cryptic, and we're playing very valiantly around that Cryptic. Snapcaster Range. So the Snap Crypticing. Okay. Sure. Fighting the good fight. I like it. Sure. Yeah. It wouldn't have been funny if we had Bajuka Bog and instant speed here to fizzle this. Tapping our Tri-Scout is a little sad, but not much that can be done about it, so we'll just let that go. And our opponent is not even holding up Path, so I think we're just clear here to kill them with Dryad, so unless they have Force of Negation. Could point triggers at their creatures, but I'd rather just end the game instantaneously, so there we go. Our opponent shows their hand was Land, Scavenging Ooze. Alright. Well, let's go to game 3 here. We got to play the O-Stone, so that's something. Yeah. Do we want to change anything? I don't think so. I think we're good. 2 Summoners Packs is a little skimpy on the Summoners Packs. Maybe could want a 3rd pack, but whatever. It's kind of a grindy game. Maybe Grazer's not at its best. I'll trim 1 Grazer for the 3rd pack, just to make sure we don't run out of Talari West targets. Say we use a pack to get our first Titan, and then our Titan wants to set up Talari West, and then we just can't do it. This hand's a clear mulligan, in my opinion. This hand's a clear keep, in my opinion. Reclamation Sage looking pretty anemic here, so we'll definitely bottom that one. Hopefully our opponent doesn't lead on Aether Vial. That'd be kind of embarrassing. Turn 1 Scout as we drew it up here with our basic or untapped green source here. Yep, here goes the Scout. Saving the Vestige, as this one could make a blue mana for transmuting Talari West. Could be relevant down the line. Not sure how fast double scout casts a Titan. It's not something I've looked into just yet. Might look into it more in depth and add it to the video that is not even up on my channel yet that I'm going to be making about lines to casting Titan. Play scout here. Cool. Play a bounce land here. Maybe exposing the Simic was not the smartest. I guess if our opponent has a field and they don't realize we can scout at instant speed, we can save our Simic in response to them fielding the Simic by scouting in a bounce land. It's a thing that we can do. Looks like our opponent's on the nothing plan. I do not mind the nothing plan. There's a Titan. We could pack for Dryad now and play it while we're underneath Spellqueller. And I think we could pretty easily pay for Pact also. Let's see, 4, we'd leave 1, 2, 3, 4 land for turn 5. We might even be able to Titan this upcoming turn if we do pack for Dryad. That said, I mean, we're about to cast Titan this upcoming turn anyways. Even if we just, pass the turn here, we could, scout in a couple lands and have Titan mana ready to go for this upcoming turn. And they're not going to be at Cryptic mana, so I think that this upcoming turn is going to be the best turn to slam a Titan. So I'm just going to play out some lands here. I guess the Sluzny Sanctuary, pick up the Forest, pass it to our opponent. Even if they do make their third land drop here, we're just going to be slamming Titan. I suppose they could have Aether Gust or something, but, whatever. Mana Leak. Wonder if we could even play around Mana Leak. Put these two into play. Nah, I don't think we can play around Mana Leak. Don't think I want to play around Mana Leak. And then we can just pack for a second Titan anyways, so. That'll inform what we get with our Summoner's Pact, of course. I guess best case scenario, our opponent just taps out here. Ewit. That's fine. They're securing their 4th land drop. There will be a Titan in play by that time, though. I am letting you know now, opponent. The only thing to think about is whether we can... we're definitely putting some lands into play here. There's no reason not to. Let's see. If we put in the Vestige also, or let's say we put in the Gruul Turf, we'll have 6, 7, 8. Titan can get Valakut, Vesuva copy, Vestige, play Dryad, but that only is relevant if we draw exactly a land to trigger the Valakut. Like a bounce land. I suppose, let's say we play Dryad first. We'll have 6 mana in play, 3 land. It's 5 mana. How does that work? So it's this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Play bounce. No, play land. Yeah, no, so we can't Dryad into Titan either, so it's probably still correct to get a land into play here. I'm going to go with the Vestige because it's quite possible we need Gruul Turf to trigger Valakut repeatedly, so. And there's a Titan. Alright, well, here's the big guy. And we will search. I didn't do any calculations to see if we could potentially haste Titan and attack this turn, but that's alright. We'll get Boros and Valakut. Or even just double Valakut doesn't sound that bad. It all sounds good at this point. We're just really far ahead. I guess double Valakut is the way to stay the most ahead, since then we'll have Dryad going pretty easily with our bounce land that we've freshly kept in hand, and another Titan to potentially cast, so. Yep. Clock for 1. Sure. We're losing an extra land drop, but I don't know if our opponent would be willing to trade this Ewit or not. Maybe this was a bad attack. I just really felt like doing it. You can't blame me. Swing for value when you can, See if our opponent gets psyched out here and just takes the 1. Probably is correct for them to trade, but that's okay. Definitely not a great attack from us. That's okay, though. We're about to be 1 mana short of casting Titan and Dryad all in 1 turn. I suppose we can use our first Titan to get a bounce land and then play Crumbling Vestige for turn in order to cast Valakut, or even just copy Vestige with a Vesuva to cast Titan afterwards. Our opponent blocks. A wise choice. Our opponent doesn't even play the Flood Strand. We know that they put in their hand. Okay, Path. You got it. Now we can easily play Titan and Dryad all in the same turn. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's exactly mana for both. So Excuse me. Let's start with the Summoner's Pact. If they have a Spell Queller, they do it now. Otherwise, they might just be literally dead, so... Probably not going to go for absolute lethal with Valcuts unless it makes a lot of sense, because we would be playing into Path, but that way they'd have to Path the Dryad and not the Titan, so that's still not even bad for us. Spell Queller? Negate. Just straight up negate. Excuse me. Okay, can we haste here? I think we can. Leave red, white, and 1 floating. Get Stronghold. Yeah, so we can haste here. Probably worth it. Bounce Land and Stronghold is the play. And we'll just set up the Boros Garrison so you don't have to do any craziness in the future. Our opponent didn't even represent a Path to Exile here, so don't have to worry about it. It's nice. Yeah, things are slipping away for our opponent here. Excuse me, I'm having some allergy issues. Had some dogs over recently, and I'm mildly allergic to the fur, so... Fun times for us, I guess. Pick up the Stronghold, play the Stronghold, do the haste thing, let the mana go. If you love the green mana, let it go. Swing with the Titan. Not swinging with the Soccer Tribe Scout this time, even though it could even potentially be free to do so. The opposite approach of last time, where we swung for no reason and lost a Scout. Now we're just setting up Tolari West here and keeping our Scout back. No work-related hazards here for Scout. And our opponent needs a lot of help. We don't even have to pay for our Summoner's Pact that got countered, of course, so... There's the Flooded Strand. Snap Path, you got it. Our opponent could have a second Path for Dryad, so it's probably going to be correct to just go for a Titan here. And not even well, we don't even have to worry about playing into a third Path here, because we have the Stronghold and Garrison in play already, so we can just snap off getting a second Tolari West and whatever else and be just fine. Probably should scout in the Tolari West on their end step. What do you think? Or we could just draw Dryad as well. That's pretty good. Well, I mean, I guess we actually want them to Path the Titan. Let's see, how much mana do we have? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, down to 12 to transmute, down to 6 to cast Titan, and then cast Dryad after, and just have land drop, lethal. Seems legit. So the Titan is actually the bait here. Now our opponent needs double Path, or Force of Negation and Path. Let's get a Titan here. I guess we could just do double Dryad. I mean, come on. You can't have the ability to search and play a Titan and not do it, right? That would just be insane. Got green up for Dryad. Alright, bait Titan into play. Setting up another Tolari West, of course, because of value. It's Value Town time, and I guess the other one's just Vesuva. Actually, let's just get a bounce lane so we have this Tolari West in our hand. We win the match. Makes a lot of sense. I don't think our opponent knew that we had a Dryad, but they probably knew that they couldn't beat the Titan Endless train here, so... Cool. Can't say that Oblivion Stone did a whole lot in that match, but it definitely could have. And, yeah, just playing tightly here, except for sacrificing a Tribe Scout. Sorry, Stacy. I just felt like attacking, what can I say? Actually, you know what? It wasn't me that was a problem. Stacy, why'd you attack? Why would you attack in that situation? That doesn't make any sense, Stacy. Explain it to me. Anyways, I will see you guys for match 4 here, where maybe we can finally, I don't know, blow up an Oblivion Stone. That would be cool. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next match. Leave your comments below what you think about this list. And yeah, this is Redface Menace, signing off.